And hello again, possums! It is the conspicuous Moo again, and my goodness, holy nooly! Bitten by nooly, we have had some changes overnight. This is always the time of week where you get excited because there's the possibility a new beta patch is going to drop and who knows what's going to be changing. And, well, yes, we weren't disappointed with this one. So, Blizzard have come out with an actual post for monks, aimed at monks, delivered for monks. Excellent news, I'm sure you'll agree. This is part one of 2 weeks worth of changes that monks are going to get, and this is probably as much as we're going to get before Shadowlands goes live. Anyway, they'll probably tweak after this, but this is where they're really going with a full pass. So these are exciting times to be a monk, and specifically for us anyway, brewmaster style, we've got a lot of good news here. One of the things they say is that they've been working hard to address the many bugs that have been submitted, with a focus on those bugs that are impacting testing. So they are aware that all 3 specs have certain issues, and they expect to have monk testing in a much better place with next week's build. Now, those of you who have been on this video before will know that I've always been concerned about the intermittent magic damage that we would receive when Celestial Brew was on cooldown, and it looks like Blizzard have actually addressed this in the latest Datamine patch notes and currently live on the beta and the public test realm, so you can go and test this yourself. So there's been a change to stagger, and now it looks like that magical attacks are going to be staggered at 35% effectiveness, which means that we do have that little bit of extra protection. I was hearing about people wanting, you know, maybe 5, 10, 15%, but 35% is quite significant. So that is a fantastic change for us. It certainly addresses one of the concerns I had with the spec, and 2 thumbs up in that respect. I think this change, if it stays, is going to affect other spells, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Another thing that we do need to address, just briefly, is that Brewmaster's balances have changed. Now, traditionally, it just raised your armor by 25%, which was always useful as we're a fairly low armor class to start with. But they have removed the dodge and parry component from Spinning Crane Kick. So now it's a button that you can still use, and you can still use it as filler, and it will still grant you 1 second of shuffle, but there's also a risk to it because you won't have any avoidance. You'll be taking, 100% of those hits. There won't be any dodge in the play. You'll still be staggering though, so you don't need to worry about that bit. Oh boy, this is a biggie. Dual wield has finally been implemented, not only for brewmasters but for windwalkers as well. So yes, go nuts. They have updated the tooltip for blackout kick, so it can now be used as one hand, fist weapons, all sorts of other weapons. So that's an excellent change. It's well overdue. We've often had it been talked of that this was going to be a change that was going to be made, but we were wondering if it was, a joke or something else. So great to have it on board. We're still waiting for official confirmation that Blackout Kick will no longer grant a stack of elusive brawler, but kind of everything all at once. A little bit of patience, please. Fortifying Brew is in an odd place right now where I'm not really sure how it's supposed to be working. The initial impression I got from this change was that the stagger, the 10% additional stagger component of this ability had been removed. However, on the PTR at least, it's still there. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing with this. It seems like a thing that's been announced to be changed, but actually hasn't impacted anything at all yet. So this is a wait and see, and I'm not really sure. Looking from that, it looks like they're intending to remove the stagger component from Fortifying Brew, though. And talking of things that are affecting stagger components, people should be, fairly aware of our strongest endurance conduit, which was Evasive Stride. I say was because it used to grant your stagger 5% additional effectiveness, and that would then, up to rank 15, go up to 20%. So it was a very obvious choice, and it was a very strong choice for brewmasters. Now they've changed it completely, so during shuffle, heavy stagger has a 2% chance to heal you instead of dealing damage. This really does need to be tested out fully and comprehensively. early reports saying that the healing is really something, but you do need to be in red stagger and heavy stagger. And with the way that they've designed Purifying Brew to buff Celestial Brew by purifying often and regularly, I'm not sure how often you're going to be in red stagger for this to even have a chance to heal you. So yes, thankfully far better brewmasters than I are already testing this out, and will be giving us feedback and damage and healing meters to give us an idea of just how effective this new version of Evasive Stride actually is. It's a shame to see it go, but it was such an obvious choice that really it did have to change. More happy news, Provoker's had its 50% increased speed modifier returned. So yeah, we weren't sure whether or not this was intentional or not, but it is very nice to have our old Provoke back. So just carry on as normal, folks. Another thing for Brewmaster changes is that for reasons which aren't immediately clear, they have decided to move a lot of the Brewmaster abilities along the line, as in, you used to get Keg Smash at 10 and now you get it at 21. So they've kind of changed all of the abilities to come at later levels. This could be a problem while leveling, particularly, the more critical ones for Brewmaster tanking, like Purifying and Celestial Brew. However, given how quickly people are leveling in Shadowlands, I don't think it's going to be really that much of a problem. So where is all this leading? Well, there are a couple of hints just from the Fortifying Brew change, which I think they meant to remove stagger from there, and the Evasive Stride conduit change, that they're trying to de-emphasize stagger as like our main mechanic, because traditionally it's still going to be very strong. It's still, Shuffle's still going to be increasing our stagger effectiveness by 75% on top of what we already get from agility. So I can see them trying to de-emphasize stagger. I think that's what they're trying to do, giving us the underlying magic stagger component as well, which will just help us out between those Celestial Brew windows. Celestial Brew itself, it's too strong. We can't possibly keep it like this. Before all these changes, we were already pretty strong. I mean, word on the street, which is what the cool kids say, is that we were probably third on the tanking levels, below Paladins and Death Knights. And this is going to make us OP as hell. Let's all pray that they don't make any changes at all and say, yeah, everything's fine. But, if it stays like this, then expect to see a lot more Brewmasters in your life. Now, something I haven't actually mentioned yet is how weapons are going to drop, at least in the first raid. Now, instead of actually having actual weapons that drop and go, oh, it's amazing, it's a bow, you're going to have an anima bead basically drop instead, and this is still going to be on your personal loot, but you will be able to transfer this to other people who might need a weapon as well. This is a very nice touch, because it means that if you're in a raid group and someone is just having no luck with these beads dropping, you can just send them one instead. The idea being that you go back to the covenant of your choice, you hand this one in, and they will reward you with a weapon. There is another version as well for those of you who are using offhands, and that obviously won't be brewmasters, but if you happen to be a a little mistweaver on the side, we won't tell anyone. Then there's the Apogee Anima Bead as well, which does exactly the same thing. So yeah, I mean it's very different. It might take a little getting used to, but I can see the wisdom of the approach, particularly when it comes to wanting to maximize your weapons or being kind enough to hand yours over. But yes, in LFR, expect to be bothered a lot for your beads if they drop. We've also had a bit more news on the new Mythic Plus affixes as well. So we'll start with the inspiring affix. We're going to have some pesky mob in the middle, which will have an inspiring presence and will be highlighted with a gold glow around their model. and any other creatures within 15 yards will be immune to CC effects as long as that mob is alive. So that's fairly simple. Just burn down the inspired person and you should be absolutely fine. Going on to Spiteful, this looks like it's going to be rather painful. Basically, when any mob dies, it will summon a Spiteful Shade creature that will fixate on a random player. That means that they can't be tanked. The actual health of this mob will scale according to the level of the key that you're in. It will lose its health every second that it's alive, so the idea is to kite or CC or destroy. But you don't want this thing touching you. It's not very pleasant at all, and it will hit you very, very hard. So yes, once again, you know, it's every mob that dies. So in trash packs, this could be a real pain because you've got like 5 or 6 spiteful things, all being spiteful and in a spiteful way, spitling it up. But yeah, like I say, you know, ring a piece them, and I think we'd be gone. It would be fine. But it's the storming affix who get the why don't we throw this idea in the fire award today? Random tornadoes will spawn around enemy creatures while in combat, and they will knock you around. They will be marked by grey swirlies on the floor, and they last for about 10 seconds. Multiples can be up at the same time. They're going to interrupt you, they're going to knock you about, and there is a possibility, although it's not been confirmed yet, that they will be able to CC you for a short amount of time as well. So it's certainly not the most annoying affix, but yeah, expect to be buffeted around a bit. As for Mythic Plus keys that are leaving us, teaming seems to be on its way out, which kind of makes sense because a lot of player abilities are now AoE capped. If you can only hit 6 targets and teaming has given you 12, it's not really that much fun. And Skittish, which everyone says is a tank affix, but it's really a DPS affix. Looks like it's on its way out too. There's a running joke going around amongst the tank community anyway at the moment that they've just put Skittish in as baseline. That's because threat is a bit of an issue at the moment on the test servers and on beta. So we're not sure whether they've just not dialed that up yet. Of course, we're now in the tuning phase, so we hope that gets a little bit better. Otherwise, you know, if DPS are pulling threat off your tanks first thing in an expansion, it's just going to get worse from there. Now, one of the things I noticed on the PTR today is that the portal is back up, so there are things to do in Iceground again. Slightly bug things, but definitely things. But this guy, I hadn't recognised before. Oh yeah, come on, don't be... So, Quartermaster Rennick here, by the Stormwind Gate, and I'm sure there is a Horde equivalent, but I don't play Horde characters, so... has got a whole bunch of goodies for you. Now, these are all eye level 100. So it's equivalent to about 430, 440 eye level on live. And it's good catch-up gear. If you've got alts and stuff, then this is probably a good place to go. The currency that they need are Argent Commendations. And, you know, there's a couple of cute things here. There's an anti-doom broom, cleans an area of the Scourge's plague, preventing the spread of infection. And a putrid geist. So it's another little pet. So yes, these are all bind on pickup, so you're going to have to grind them on your alts. But you know, that's a nice little catch-up mechanic, and the way you go for your goodies is to Iceground. So once you get to Iceground, just come down, talk to these people. This quartermaster here will swap you basically. You know, the Scourge stones that drop from the undead mobs in Iceground. It will exchange you for that currency, so you can start buying your catch-up gear. And this nice lady here, Justica Mariel Trueheart, will have a section of daily quests for you as well. I did find a couple of others, so always open the map just to see if there are any other blue exclamation marks around. It's not working perfectly at the moment because there is... I can actually see it on there. Let me get out and turn back again. There is an exclamation mark for advancing the effort, but I don't see that quest there, so I don't know what's going on with that. But hey, it's a test server, so go figure. But yeah, basically all of these daily quests also reward you with these tokens, so you can complete the dailies, get some of the tokens, and then you can just grind out Scourge mobs as well and get the Scourge stones, hand them into this quartermaster guy, and eventually you'll be able to get an entire set of eye level 100, which is a pretty decent start for the expansion. Just something I thought I would point out there, and if you want to have a play around with your new abilities, this is the place right now. So overall, it's been a really good day for Brewmaster monks, and for monks in general as well. I mean, windwalkers and mistweavers, sorry guys, mistweavers, have had a lot of changes too. They're definitely all in there as well, and they're all on the public test realm, and they're on beta, so I recommend you go now and log in and go, wow, I got magic stagger again, oh, this is awesome. But with the caveat that you might need to enjoy it while it lasts, because there's another week of tuning to come on monks, and I suspect that something's got to give when it comes to brewmasters, otherwise we're going to be gods. Yes, overall, fabulous. Fabulous! And yes, I will be back in a couple of days. I want to do a bit of work on Torghast and our anima powers, and also go through the soulbind conduits and what's good and what's bad for brewmasters too, so stay tuned for those. And I am the conspicuous moo. Toodaloo.